This is the Recycling, Scrap Metal, Commodities, and Economic Report, May 12, 2025. U.S. weekly raw steel production fell slightly to 1.701 million tons, up 1.4% from last year and down 1% year to date. This was despite tariffs and on a slowing economy. Cleveland-Cliffs, a top 5 U.S. steel company, announced more layoffs and closing this week. WTI crude oil price rose to $61.04 a barrel on optimism of Chinese-U.S. trade talks. Also, OPEC Plus production has been increasing as Iranian oil sanctions are kicking in. U.S. weekly crude oil production fell slightly to 13.367 million barrels per day, off December's all-time record high. Low prices are hurting U.S. oil company profits, which is limiting production. The U.S. weekly crude oil rig count fell to 474, the lowest since January. At about $60 a barrel, the U.S. is cutting money-losing rigs. Scrap steel number 1 HMS composite price fell to $338.33 a gross ton. This is on a good supply and slowing demand. Hot rolled coil steel price rose slightly to $44.50 a hundredweight, which is $8.90 a ton. This was despite lower steel imports into the U.S. Supplies are tight despite no major demand increase. Copper price fell to $4.65 a pound on weaker global demand and oversupply concerns. Aluminum price fell to $1.10 a pound, which is $24.21 a metric ton on good supply and slow demand concerns. Chinese April exports grew a big 8.1% despite being down 21% with the U.S. The U.S. and China have a new trade deal that is to be announced this morning. U.S. Q1 2025 productivity fell by 0.8% after years of increases. Increased productivity helps keep inflation down. Major imports hurt the data, but commercial aircraft manufacturing was a positive. U.S. May real TIPP Economic Optimism Index, which is how consumers view the economy and their finances over the next 6 months. It declined to 47.9, the lowest in 7 months. Government policies are under 50, with under 50 being pessimistic. It's been under 50 for 45 months. U.S. March trade balance. The deficit widened to $140.5 billion, a new record high, as in bad. Companies rushed imports to beat tariffs. Deficits widened sharply with the European Union and Vietnam. U.S. Federal Reserve interest rates remain steady at 4.25 to 4.5%. They said they're concerned that tariffs could bring higher inflation and higher unemployment. Both are what they're trying to keep low. Wall Street's Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 68 points to 41,249. As we discussed earlier, a China-U.S. trade deal is to be announced this morning, which is a positive. This is Greg Brown. As always, feel free to call or email me with any questions, and we hope all have a safe and profitable week.